Fuck are you staring at? What's going on, nomads, party people, and strangers everywhere across the internet? My name is V, you know, like the letter, and today we are finally going over something I should have done months ago. But I didn't want to because it was like, it's hot right now, let me just not be that guy. And then I just was like, fuck it. So here we are today with the review of Riverdale. My god, this show. So if you guys don't know this, I actually kept up with it when it was on television up to a certain point, and then I kind of gave up on it because it kind of seemed predictable, since it was pretty much like a show we've already discussed a lot about on this channel. So, when it comes just to that regard, what can I say about the show itself that everyone's already talked about before? Well, obvious notes. It's a modern day retelling of Archie from the Archie comics in a different light than has ever been explored in anything involving media, where, get this guys, here's the big shocker of the story. A popular kid is deemed missing and or dead, later declared dead, and the whole mystery is who killed popular kid. Now, where have we heard this before? Because this original thing couldn't have come from something else. Where could we have possibly heard something that made this story trope very popular? Oh, there's just, I can't think of it. It was on the tip of my tongue, too. It was on the tip of my tongue. All joking aside, though, along with this whole predictability of the whole how it turned out for the plot, let's just talk about stuff that I enjoyed. Casting, for instance. KJ Apa and Cole Sprouse did a really good job with their Archie Andrews and their Jughead Jones, I must say. And the actresses that did Veronica, Betty, and Cheryl were phenomenally gorgeous. I mean, they were all so good at their roles. I was like, is the comic starting to become like real life now, where shit's hitting the fan and we're getting actual story from that shit I kept finding in supermarkets? By this point, you guys should know I hate Archie comics because I just find it stupid. So, aside from all that stuff and Luke Perry being sublimely cool as always, music choices were pretty decent and good and very well paced out. I enjoyed all the stuff they did for it. The setting, locations of the high school and the town itself, along with how they did the atmospheric changes to kind of symbolize how the town was going through certain things in one element or another. I enjoyed that stuff as a cinephile and an aspiring filmmaker. I enjoyed all that stuff to a T. But what is my gripe with the show itself that kind of made me push it off so far that I was just like, no, let me just avoid it while it's hot? Well, it's kind of the most basic thing I can think of in its entirety. The show itself, although can be written well enough to not be dumb, it's still basically a shot-for-shot retelling in a modern sense of Twin Peaks without the supernatural elements.
Well, shit.
If you guys don't get what I'm saying, then we have a lot to discuss in a comparison video I might make in the future. But for right now, I'm just gonna leave it at this. For every character that I've seen in this show is basically all I've seen from the first 2 seasons of Twin Peaks. We've had our own Dale Cooper, our Sheriff Harry, our Deputy Sheriff Andy, we've had our Hawk, we've had our Audrey, we've had our Laura Palmer, we've had all of the basic characters from Twin Peaks wrapped into one or multiple characters and one overlaying saturation about who is what character and why. We have all of this as the makings of basically we're doing Archie meets Twin Peaks. Honestly, that crossover would be interesting, but I'm just gonna let that go for now. But it doesn't do well on a whole when it's a shot-for-shot retelling, when you get so enveloped in the story that as soon as the twist comes out, that's so similar to how the inspiration is, you're just like, who the fuck? Why did... No! That's basically how I felt after I saw episode 12, because I was like, I almost had my entire head spin around like it was The Exorcist or something. I'm not even joking. I was that furious, I was that mad, I was that upset. And also over the fact that the show kind of failed to deliver on a promise it said when it was saying who's confirmed to be in the show. We'll get into that whenever I decide to talk about Season 2, whenever it comes out. But for right now, that one key character would have helped cement so much more with the show in its entirety than it could have ever established in just the whole exposition dump after exposition dump and so many plot holes and a lot of errors. Needless to say, though, I won't say that Riverdale is a bad show. In all honesty, from a lot of shows that kind of take the old source material and then turn it into something brand new, it's not the worst thing I've seen. Granted, it's not the best thing, and a lot of shows and or projects that are mirroring it are just as with the whole it's not bad but it's not good, which is something we might be discussing in the future if I bring myself to watch a certain thing that I was supposed to be in. Not gonna say what it is because I don't feel like giving it publicity. And the characters that were in the show itself with the casting choices of what was established, I'm not saying were terrible. All the characters were made to be incredibly likable with a good enough backstory with each of them that you want to be more invested in as the show continues, which is something you want in a character. But for the show itself, as just its first season, there's a lot to be desired. There's a lot of errors here that I can't overlook. I can't be like, oh, this is what makes a good film, a good show, a good anything, even if it was just a big franchise dealie that was just leading up to a bigger property on the big screen or on the independent film circuit. It needs to have such saturation with the story that, although interesting in how they try to do it, I myself personally just couldn't like it. If you disagree with that, that's on you. If you agree with it, that's on you too. This is just how I feel. So for just the entire rating system from just letter grade, number grade, and star rating, I'm gonna give this, first of all, a C+, with a number rating of, I would say, a 7.6 out of 13. Mostly because story matters, guys. Story matters. A lot. A lot, like way more than you can ever imagine. Although, even though it has a lot of good stuff going for it, if the story itself can't draw in a lot of people where it starts to wane down after the hype is done, you haven't done it right. I'm looking at you, Attack on Titan. And for star rating, I would give this 3.5 out of 7 stars.
Oh my god.
I honestly think this is my lowest rated product ever. So, how to just end this whole thing? How to end